Hi everyone. Welcome to another section of project two of the week three assignment. And at this time, we have two collections from our database that we are going to display. Our first collection is called Emergency Contacts. Um, Emergency Contact has 7 fields of data, which has been stored in the database, and then we have emergency types, also another collection in our database, and been able to build fully our API documentation with Swagger for this project. And when you look at our API, it's showing the collections that we already have in the database, emergency contacts and then emergency types. And so we are going to go through the endpoints for each collection and then get to make sure that everything is working appropriately. First of all, we want to try the get request for our homepage, the hello world, to confirm that everything is fine. When we run it, can beautifully see it loaded. Hello world as it returns 200 code, and then we can go to check for emergency contacts, then confirm that everything works fine. This get request should be able to get all emergency contacts. I mean, existing emergency contact that we have in the database. So when we run it, it returns a 200 code showing that everything was successful. We currently have three, so these are the if otherwise, if there was an error, then it should return a 500 internal server error. But since it was successful, then it returned the 200 code error code. Sorry. Once we're done, we would want to go on to check for post endpoints. This should allow us create a new emergency contact. And so I'm going to create one with my name as well. Yeah, let me first try it out. Yeah, so this should allow us edit as well. And then okay. And then phone number is 223-876-546. Then relationship, say cousin. Address, let's say B597/5 Ivy Street, and then email z.kind@gmail.com. Then my preferred contact method, say email. And so once we execute this, it returns a 201 code and then a message to show us that the contact was successfully created, to confirm that we can check list of contacts here, and then it should be able to see the latest one that I added. Yeah, and there it is. So this confirms that everything works fine for our post endpoint for our emergency contacts. Now let's check get endpoint for emergency contacts. So we should be able to search an emergency contact by ID. with this endpoint, and it should take us or pull up the exact ID contacts that we are looking for. So let me use this ID and then execute. And once executed, we can see it successfully pulls up um, the ID for the related contacts and its information with a 200 code. If there is an error, a server error, then it should return a 500 code. If no contact was found, then it's return a 404 code with a message contact not found. So this confirms that our GET request for emergency contacts is working, and put contact or put endpoints. This should allow us update any existing contact. So we can first do that by trying it out, add the ID of the related contact that we want to update. So let's say I want to update this very one. I'm still going to keep my name as well. And then last name, okay. Then let me copy the phone number over. Skill territory, relationship, cousin. Yeah, it's cousin, and then the address. Let me copy that over as well. And then email at z.outline. Still going to maintain the email, gmail.com. And then let's say I decide to change my preferred contact method to WhatsApp. So once we executed our preferred contact for this particular contact should be changed. Um, and so, as we can see clearly, it throws an error that we have an issue with. We have an issue with updating the contact. So that is something that needs to be fixed. Um, so when we check the 400 code error, I think I limited the preferred contact method to be either email, phone, or SMS. So let me change from WhatsApp to maybe SMS, and then that should work for us. Yeah, yeah. And so it returned a 204 showing us that contact was updated. And so we can check that by viewing our list of contact again, and then we should see email here change to SMS. All right. So once we execute that, yeah, there we go. So that shows that everything is working fine for our put endpoint as well. And then our delete, this should allow us delete a particular ID or a particular emergency contact. So we can do that by just adding the ID of the contact. Sorry, let me pull that up. So sample ID deleted. Once we add that and then execute, it should return a 204 code showing us that our contact was deleted, and we can verify that by running our get list again, and then we can see we now have three instead of four. So as well, it's now gone. So that should be it for our um, emergency contacts. And so we can go on now to do same for our emergency types. And can first run and then make sure that everything is being pulled up for emergency types. We already have two existing and we can see them here. The types are beautifully listed. It returns a 200 code showing that everything was successful. We can verify other endpoints. Our post should allow us to create a new emergency type. So we can simply add maybe flat and say emergency involving water, water or rain. And then priority, we can leave it high and then execute. Once executed, it returns a 400 code error. So that means we need to check what error we have in here. So it says priority must be one of I think capital. So let me update that to capital. Once we do that, yeah, it's returned a 201 code with a message that the emergency type was successfully created. And you can verify that from our list of emergency contacts. We should have three instead of two now. Yeah, and there we go, flat. So this confirms that our post endpoint for emergency types works fine. They should be able to allow us search a particular emergency type by ID. So save flat, try it out, add it, and then execute it. And it should take me to the exact emergency type flat. Also confirms that everything works fine. And put should allow us update a particular emergency type by ID. So we can add the ID and then type still flat. Think description. Let me copy that. Then say I want to change the priority to medium. So once I execute, it returns a 204 code showing that the type is updated. We can verify that by running get list again, and we should see flat updated to medium priority. Yeah, there we go. So it confirms that put endpoint works fine, and last of all, delete endpoint. Get rid of a particular emergency type by ID. So I use the latest one I added and then execute it. And then once we execute it, yeah, it returns a 204 code showing us that type was deleted. And we can check that. Yeah, so we are back to two. Yeah, so this is what we have in MongoDB Compass, and it should show the project two that we already have, and then emergency contacts, and then types. So this this confirms we have two collections across our database.